Hi everyone, my name is Tracy Vanier, and I'm going to talk to you about a concept from Chapter 3. That chapter was entitled Understanding People at Work, Individual Differences and Perception. So the concepts I'm going to talk about are called positive and negative affective traits. So it discusses how our behaviors at work can be affected by the moods that we're in. So we've all had good days and bad days at work. And when you're in a positive mood, you appear more cooperative, you smile more, and you appear more friendly to your coworkers, and just more pleasant to be around. And then if you're in a bad mood, then you may appear easily annoyed, hard to please, and not as open to other people's opinions and their ideas. Now, we all have our ups and downs, but then there's also a trend where people are primarily positive or primarily negative. So this would be called a positive or negative affective person. So in a positive affective person, they would be described as mostly having a mostly positive outlook. They're usually happier at work, and their good mood is often contagious, and they'll be more productive. And someone who has a negative affective person would have mostly negative outlook, high frequency of bad moods. They're often more anxious and more nervous. Now, how these personalities would affect a team is that a team made up of mostly positive affective people will usually have better attendance. They're more cooperative with each other, and they're usually able to come up with solutions that everyone can agree upon more easily. And then a team made up of negative affective people will have less teamwork and cooperation. Those people will be less likely to help out a teammate on a task or a project. So it can be difficult to work with somebody who is a negative personality, a negative affective personality. So the book also talks about some strategies to, work effectively with these types of people. So one of the things that the ideas is to not try to change their personality, because that's probably something that's going to be difficult, that's just the way that they are. But if it becomes to a point where it's disruptive to the team, or the workplace, that you would want to address the behaviors themselves, not necessarily them as a person. And then also keep an open mind about what they're saying. So sometimes when someone is complaining all the time, people tend to just tune them out. But it's important to keep an open mind, because they may be actually bringing up a valid point. So it's possible that their gripe is actually valid, and that other people feel the same way. They just don't necessarily voice that negative opinion. So it's good to keep an open mind. And then also limit interactions with them. So if it is becoming, like being around them is becoming a downer, or bringing you down at work, then limit your interactions with them and try to keep it positive and try to steer the conversation. But if you're not able to, just try to limit how much you talk with them. And then if they do have some valid points and some valid gripes, then ask them to come up with some solutions. And you can either work with them on that, or say, I think that's a valid point. You should come up with some solutions and bring that to the management team. And then ask them to be specific about their complaints. It's not. Sometimes people are just having a bad day, or they didn't get enough rest that night. So if they're just like, oh, I hate being at work, then that's one thing. But if they are constantly complaining about stuff at work, but they're not being specific about it, ask them to find out what exactly is the problem and what's really bothering them. And hopefully they'll be able to come up with a solution. All right, well, I hope you learned something, and thanks so much for listening.